Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to request you to please stand up if you're able and remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem.
Thanks, partner. Welcome to the 5th game of the Humber Hawks young soccer season, undefeated thus far, as they welcome in the visiting Niagara Knights, who have had a good start to the season in their own right, as they come into this matchup with 1 win, 2 ties, so no losses for the Knights as they take in the undefeated Humber squad. My name is Matt Hamill, with you today alongside my broadcast partner, Zach Benoit. Zach, you're on the scene. We're looking at a beautiful sunny afternoon for this Game 1, where the women's teams will take the field for Game 2. It should be a great day.
Yeah, partner, I was told it was fall sports, but it feels like we're right back in the middle of summer. It is a beautiful day here for some footy action. The Humber Hawks rocking it so far this season. 4-0, 18 goals scored, 2 goals allowed. And then you look at the other side for Niagara. Again, like you said, it's not a bad start. 1-0-2. So definitely a team that could possibly come in here, give the Humber Hawks a challenge. But it's going to be a very interesting game to see here how the Hawks respond at home.
You said it, partner, and it's almost time to get this show on the road. You can see both teams about to break their huddle. And Zach, for the Humber Hawks, this 4-0 start to the season all began on September 5th with a road victory against St. Clair, 4-2. And Zach, that was the last time a team has managed to score on the Hawks, as the following 3 wins for Humber: on the road against Lambton, at home versus Fanshawe, and on the road against Conestoga, all games in which Humber did not allow a goal against. So for Niagara, they've got to think they're coming into a team that's really feeling good defensively.
Well, if you want to look at it, it's a 270 regulation minutes shutout streak that the Humber Hawks have had. Again, like you said, dating all the way back to that St. Clair game, which was the opening game of the season. They've been picture perfect, really, ever since. And you know, the defensive side has been really good, but then you can look at the offensive side as well. And Candelaresi, who he's second in the OCAA in goals. He does trail Vivolo, who has 10. But Candelaresi sitting there with 5. And the key thing was, last time out here at the Zanchin Automotive Center, he didn't start the game. He came in the second half, still ended up scoring a goal in that game.
You know, Zach, you mentioned that one home game for Humber's men's soccer team thus far, that 3-0 win against Fanshawe. Took them a little while to get going, as you touched on there. Only the second half when Humber finally started to find the back of the net. And in that case, they popped a couple in quick succession. But we'll see if Humber maybe is slow on the draw to get their offense going, or do they kind of come out the way they've come out on all their road games this season, which is firing on all syllables right out of the get-go. We'll find out as this game gets underway. And Humber playing it back. Played back even further by Lascano. It's Humber kind of taking their time, exercising some patience in their own zone. Franz, a big part of Humber's national championship winning effort last year, and he plays that across on the far side of the field.
Yeah, we saw it in the first game, but really what we're seeing early on here, just Humber, they're having that slow approach to the feel-out process. How is this Niagara team going to challenge you? How are they going to pressure you? And then once you're able to get an opening, once you're able to see a weakness, that's when you pursue.
Looked for an opening there, but strong defensive play by Niagara to shut down that effort. Well positioned that time was Ferdinand Lokole. Lokole right in the middle of that defensive line for the Knights team. Tall fella, 6'4", Zach, so no surprise he was able to get his head on that earlier effort by Humber.
Does a good job just, in the backfield, like you said, just being a force.
A notable omission for the Humber Hawks today, Matthew Leitch is not suited up. He is scratched out on our lineups for today.
He actually just walked right past the booth here at the table. He's obviously not dressed for today's game. Obviously, we hope Matthew Leitch is healthy, but we haven't got that information as of yet. I'm sure if we ask around during halftime, we can provide you with the updates.
Zach, Humber has had the most corner kicks of any team in the league in this early part of the season. They get another one there, and that's going to trickle out of bounds on the near line. And so the Hawks are getting set up here, kind of showing some time of possession in Niagara's zone. See if they can maintain it or get an early game chance. Pressed right up on that sideline and quickly put back in play. The Knights get it back now, and they're going to look a bit on their heels here as Humber applying some good pressure, a little too strong on that challenge, and that will draw a whistle.
That was Cisco Thomas, number 14, pressuring there. One player I want to highlight for the Humber Hawks who had a really big game. His name might have not shown up in the score sheet. It was number 8, Matthew Smith. He was a spark plug, really, through the midfield. Him and Franz Mella really did a good job with that 1-2 kind of combination. But again, you see him here. Humber, they utilize the wing back a lot with their players. We see Luca Pinto on the left side, usually playing that left wing back. You can see here number 8 right in front of us, Matthew Smith, playing most likely that right wing back position.
Humber able to really get on it defensively, playing it back to the keeper. So the Hawks early in the game, Zach, you'd have to give them a little bit of an advantage so far in terms of how they've been able to hang on to possession here as they now march back down the field.
This is usually the Humber Hawks team we see, though, really game in and game out. They control the game, they control the tempo, and then once they find that weakness in the defense, that's what they're going to exploit for the rest of the game.
Humber, who started the season coming off of last year's national championship, starting off this year, the number 2 nationally ranked team. Didn't take long for the Hawks to rise up to number 1 in the latest CCAA rankings.
Yeah, and I think it just kind of shows really how good this team is. They coming off that national win, people usually expect, maybe the championship hangover is going to happen to start the next season. And a lot of players from that championship team, they graduate from the program. There's a lot more younger players on this team, a lot of transfer players coming in. But Humber, again, this is a program that has been so good for so many years. You can see on that fence the banner stretching all the way back to 1995. That's not just the OCAA wins. Those are the CCAA national championship wins in this men's soccer program.
Humber winning the national championship 6 of the last 9 years. So you mentioned, Zach, sometimes it can be tough to run it back, but Humber's been able to do that. You see, as you highlighted on that far sideline some of those national championship banners, the years in which the Hawks have been able to capture that. So here's Niagara now with a good push into the Humber zone. A lot of Hawks defenders to kind of get in the area, but excellent job keeping possession, but that will be fired out of play, and Humber will get a possession here.
Well, you look at it, you know, going back to 2021, the start of 2021 season, Humber, they have won the national championship 3 times out of 4. Obviously, you know, this year you can get to see what happens with 2025, but that is just an impressive feat.
Looks like playing keeper for Humber today is Moreau. Moreau's a first-year player for the Hawks. And look at that, the Humber Hawks will score a bit of a sneaky one just in the early going of this game. Here we are just shy of the 6-minute mark, Zach.
Yeah, and that looked to be number 17, Marcus Riviere. Beautiful touch into the box. He was breaking through. He was really all over the game in the home opener they had earlier on in the year. And he couldn't find the back of the net. You know, you can see the frustration he had in that game, not being able to find it right here early on. A beautiful first touch in the box, just flicks it over the keeper's head, and it drops down beautifully into that back corner.
Marcus Riviere, who last year scored 7 goals. He gets one early in this one. And so that's going to be a bit of a wake-up call there for the Niagara Knights. And here comes the Knights as they're maybe looking to respond here as they have a chance to maybe get a little bit of offense of their own established. Mella with some fancy work there and playing it back as the Hawks regroup.
Just so tough because, you know, you watch players on the side of Niagara try to, you know, get into the territory. Get into the territory and then try to, you know, get an opportunity. But then you have guys like Matthew Smith, Franz Mella, who just do such a good job at just shutting down all the pressure.
Yeah.
And it's the midfield battle. That's kind of the thing with Humber. They continuously win that midfield battle.
And that, Zach, from my quick research, is the earliest Humber has scored in a match this year. So getting off to a hot start here at home. And as he mentioned, took them a long time, their last home game, to get going. Looks like maybe they're all suited and booted here on their home turf early in this one.
Yeah, they got acclimated in that home opener. Now they're ready, prepared, playing here, and they're playing a really good brand of soccer to start the year. I mean, I mentioned at the start of the game that they have that 270-minute shutout streak going right now, and it is just truly, truly sensational to watch.
And there we have some cheering from the fans as the Niagara Knights women's team is looking on here just behind the Humber ball carrier in those stands. And the Hawks once again with possession right at the midfield line. Noel will play it onto that near side to Lascano. Kind of works it into the middle now. A little bit of tangling up there as Humber's Cisco Thomas hits the turf.
No, the screw, it's just dead, Matt.
So we'll get a free kick for Niagara. There's that big defender we mentioned earlier. and played there by the Humber keeper. Played onto that far side. So early 1-0 lead for the undefeated Humber Hawks as they're off to a strong start in their effort to improve to 5-0 on the season.
Well, you look at it, right? It's only 10 minutes into this match. You know, Humber have jumped right on top of Niagara early on here. And, you know, you look, it's 10 minutes in, already 1-0, and again, they've just really dominated possession of the ball early on.
And some Niagara fans and players alike a little disappointed there as the whistle will shut down that play, which could have been a little something. There's Humber's key defender, Isaiah Noel, playing it on the near side to Smith.
And Noel had a couple of really big moments in that home opener. You know, there was a player that was breaking out, looked like he was going to be on a breakaway, and then out of nowhere, Noel just comes and just completely gets the ball off his foot. I mean, it was an impressive play to say the least. He is such a sound defender. We've said it year in and year out, and just a really good player overall for the Hawks.
Yeah, veteran leadership, fourth-year guy who's been around for a lot for this Humber team. And as we mentioned, last year's incredible provincial championship and then the national run. In tight here as Humber will maintain possession as the ball bounces out. Mella trying to find an avenue, and he does an excellent job finding a teammate. A little bit of jeering going on as Humber will have to regroup.
I believe they're looking for that handball inside the box for Niagara right there on the defenders.
But a big change for the Humber Hawks this year, Zach. After all these years of continued success at the provincial and national level, Humber now with a new head coach. Michael Aquino moving on, and now in his first year at the helm, Jason Mesa.
Yeah, but you know, the new head coach doesn't really matter. I mean, it's been the same system. You know, they're just continuing just such smart play. And if you heard the way that Mesa talked to his squad, there's go on Instagram, Humber Hawks men's soccer. They were posting the video of just him kind of talking. And, you know, it does a really good job. You can just kind of hear the calmness in his voice.
And after a little bit of deliberation and some frustration, Humber able to get the play going here. Now on the far side, some good speed on display. And that will be out of play. Goal kick coming up.
And they elect to go quickly here. Just look how strong through the midfield Franz Mella is right there. Great play in number 10.
So Humber continuing to show that patience. Here's Isaiah working it back to Smith, who finds a little lane to work with between the legs action, but he's not able to continue that drive forward as Niagara comes away with it.
Hey, partner, I told you, he's a spark plug. Watch him play. He is just everywhere on the field.
Niagara's Merez everywhere right now on that drive. He helped his team try to break out of their zone, but right now they're going to be pushing it back in their own end, looking for some space. Can really feel the pressure for Humber as the Hawks have certainly been able to comfortably hang on to the ball, and early in this game, the same cannot be said for Niagara as they've been feeling some heat for sure. It will be Niagara's ball with this free kick about 8 or 10 yards on their side of half.
Okay, sounds good. Let me know when I'm off.
The big defender for the Knights moving up. Cisco Thomas is taking a crouch. Not sure if he got maybe hit up high, but he now rejoins the play. A little bit of a danger here for Humber, but excellent boxing out there. And the defensive play for the Hawks will allow the keeper to swallow it up. And Humber quickly transitioning. Now long stretch pass, but that will just be from one end to the other.
One of 4 matchups here today. It's the Humber men's team. Humber Niagara, I should say. One of the 4 matchups in the OCAA when it comes to men's soccer. George Brown Centennial, they kick off at 6. Durham Seneca, those are as well at 6 p.m. And then Fanshawe Conestoga, they'll go head-to-head at 8 p.m. So a lot of action. OCAA sports, partner. It is all the way back in full effect.
And how sweet it is, partner.
It's always fun watching the collegiate athletes come back after a long summer. Because you can see, on social media, the players, they want to get back in the action. They want to, have those big moments. Some want those highlights on Instagram.
Football is life, Zach. And
exactly.
It's back in season. And again, we're blessed here in mid-September with a very summer-like day.
Glorious weather. Glorious. Not a cloud in the sky.
First day of autumn, Zach. The equinox on Monday. It's a little half quizzing you there. It didn't look like you were going to come up with the answer, so I just
I appreciate it.
Spat it out.
Usually when it comes to weather questions, I go to you, not the other way.
To the dilettante. All right, here we go. As Humber on the near side, Cisco playing it to Smith. And burst of speed there as he creates some space. But again, strong defensive play will shut down the Humber drive as Ferdinand Lokole does it again.
Yeah, Smith is so fast, but Okole, like you said, he's so tall. He has those long legs. He can just kind of keep pace with Smith going down the line. Interesting call there. I thought Matthew Smith might have kept it in bounds afterwards, but the ref's going to rule that he was out of play when he touched the ball. So instead of it, just the play continuing on, there's going to be a big kick from the keeper here.
And the keeper for the Knights today, Patrick Iwanisic. Humber will corral it and look to launch another attack. We're just shy of 18 minutes into this first half. Around the 6-minute mark, Humber potted in there first. And that's where we stand right now. Into the middle of the field and not quite able to corral it was Joseph. And Niagara comes back now. In towards the keeper, and well played by Morrow. Joseph taps that off and charts up the field as Humber getting a little tangled up here, but we'll hang on to the rock.
But look at it, who it is trekking back and making the play. Franz Mella, number 10, coming through. Doing a really good job to backtrack, and that's what this Humber Hawks team does really, really well. Maybe the best in the OCAA is that, they're so offensively strong. They understand that, anybody can jump up. We've seen it in the past. Matthew Leitch, for example, who's not playing today, a defenseman that's jumped up in the attack multiple times, Isaiah Noel. But they can trek back onto defense so fast. The midfield, they understand that, you can push up into the attack, but you got to make sure you get back in time, and they do it every single time.
Zach, we're talking about a Humber team that in that national championship effort last year, in the regular season, scoring 38 goals and allowing only 3 against. So that certainly speaks to strong play on both sides of the ball. Obviously, you need that if you want to not just win the OCAA championship, but also take some hardware home at the national level. And certainly in the early part of the season, getting some indications of some carryover from that excellent play on both sides for Humber. Look at this here as Cisco fighting for it. Offside call will shut that one down.
Cisco Thomas was trying to jump through a lane right there, and the ref put up the side judge, I should say, excuse me, put up the flag saying offside, and you can hear Thomas just look at the ref saying, "How? How was I offside?" Obviously, the players, they get into the moment so much they don't realize, but you love to hear it. You love to hear the passion out of the players.
So it'll be Locole's ball to boot away, putting it deep to Humber zone, played by Noel. Pickpocketed by TJ. He marches upfield. Just a little too far behind for Cisco as ball gets taken away, and Niagara with the chance to bounce back. So Zach, we're in that kind of latter stages of this first half. Well, it'd be big for Niagara if they could get a little footing in that offensive zone, maybe find a way to enter half all knotted up. But right now, Humber's defensive play has been matching the kind of intensity of their offensive output and hasn't allowed Niagara much of a window.
Well, right now, if you're Niagara, you got to figure out how to get past that midfield. You got to figure out how you're going to get past Franz Mella, Matthew Smith. On the other side, Luca Pinto. We haven't said his name a whole lot, but he's very good defensively on the left wing back as well. It's just a really, really tough midfield because once you figure out how to break through that, well, guess what? You got Isaiah Noel standing on that back line. It's like a rich chocolate cake, my friend. There's a lot of layers to this Humber team.
Every layer is as delicious. I lost track of the metaphor. I am now hungry as Humber now is pushing it into the midfield area.
Sounds good.
Cleared in, and that could have been dangerous, but again, some solid defensive play from Niagara was needed to shut down what could have been a good chance. As you know, Zach, we've seen Humber do that a couple times. They were able to pop one in the net earlier in the game, but just some of these long stretch passes and the way they're placed is high level, and it does sometimes create a chance out of nowhere for Humber.
Yeah, and here is another golden chance. You have a set piece coming just down to our right here. And again, it's just another great look.
Yeah, with Lascano lined up to take this corner kick, he's going to elect for the short pass, and he gets it right back. Boot is blocked and saved from the parking lot, but
that was Kyle
Fiore.
Hannon. Kyle Hannon just took that right off the head.
Yeah, and he took the business end of that powerful kick and was none the worse for it. So good display of toughness there for sure.
Hit him in the top of the head, and you saw him after try to shake it out. Seen a little bit of stars after that one.
And some hooting and hollering down low. And we might have a handball against Niagara. Zach, if my interpreting skills are correct.
Yep.
It looks like just that. So a golden opportunity for Humber here as we are sitting just shy the 24th minute. That's going to be Humber's number 3, Luca Pinto, a fourth-year player. No stranger to big moments in his veteran OCAA soccer career, and a big one coming up. And he will hammer that home, finding that right inside post area. And Humber now celebrating their second goal of this first half, courtesy of that free kick from Pinto.
Second time in as many home games, Luca Pinto has found the back of the net via a penalty kick. He'll take it. That's another goal on his number here this season. But again, a player that's just so talented at playing in that left wing back position. He's so good at really, producing the offense, but also just dropping back. He has so much speed. Pinto, though, comes across with another big-time goal here for the Hawks.
Pinto's second goal of the year, like you mentioned, Zach. He scored 5 last season, so off to a great start here. But Yeah, you know, Zach, not every OCAA team is like Humber in that the Hawks have already played 4 games, this being their 5th, so really roaring with a quick start on the schedule with a lot of games, but so far it's been Humber up to the task. And sitting pretty here as that strike is going to sail wide, but not a bad effort there by the Knights to just get a quick chance fired off. Caught Humber maybe on their toes just a little bit.
Yeah, and that's by far probably the best look we've seen the Knights have so far here today. Everything else, it's been really just shut down. But the Knights, they had an opportunity. Golden one there, just the kick just a little bit too far to the right.
For this Niagara team, they're averaging just over 19 shots per game. Humber just slightly higher, averaging 20 shots per game this year. But you know Niagara's going to have to start getting some on net and dialing up some quality chances if they want to really stay in this first half and be in a halfway decent position heading into the break. But nothing all that backbreaking about this 2-goal deficit, but you know the Knights would like to see their offense getting comfortable, getting set up, as right now the kind of time of possession and just offensive zone control has really favored the Humber Hawks, but it'll be Knights ball here with the chance to get it cracking.
Yeah, this is a Knights team too that's drawn their 2 games out of the 3 that they've played so far, and you know they've looked good so far this season. They've been a strong team. It's just here, you know, you're going against a juggernaut in the Humber Hawks. You're going against the reigning national championships, the team that ranks number 1 right now in the CCAA power rankings. I mean, it's also a team, like I mentioned, that's on a 270-minute and counting save streak right now.
Booted back into Niagara territory, and coming out to play it was Iwan Isik. So Zach, Humber men's soccer off to a good start this year. Some maybe could say the same for your favorite American football team, the Green Bay Packers.
Go Pack, go.
So life is good for my broadcast partner, Zach Benoit.
Loving life right now. Looks like Matthew Bogasat, number 12, is staying on the line here to check in.
Big boot, Humber looking to create a chance, but well played there by Patrick as the first-year keeper was all over that one for Niagara. No doubt the biggest test of his young collegiate career is taking on the defending national champions, I should say.
I think the most interesting thing year in and year out about this Humber men's soccer program is the players, how high they hold themselves in the regard. And Bogasat, like I said, checking in here, and he checks in for number 16, Alex Morez. But really, when you look at the players that come in here, the veterans on this team, they come in and they really explain what's going on and, you know, how to hold yourself with a high standard.
Little miscommunication for Humber, although they quickly get that ball back. Joseph leading the charge, kicks it out in front. It's a foot race here, and that will be won by the Knights. And is that going to be a goal kick? Yes, it is. So Niagara will get possession here as they looking for a little gap up the middle. They're going to find it. Played up now by Matthew Nukowski.
Just booted a little too far to the range. Again, it's like a multi-layered cake, partner. This is defense. The midfield, 1 layer. Back line, 2nd layer. Then the final layer, usually the best layer, the goalkeeper.
And yeah, it's like the custard in the middle, right, partner?
Might have to make a trip to Costco after this, pick up some cake.
Might not be wrong, partner, although I'll tell you what, Metro's cakes have really come in strong as of late. Also coming in strong continuously is this very important defensive key player for Niagara, Ferdinand Lokole. Is once again, he's all over it, and that has been a shining bright spot in what's so far been a strong offensive effort for Humber. I think some key defensive players, not just Lokole, but as a unit, they have been able to shut down and keep this a 2-goal game, Zach. So from there, you gotta think if Niagara's offensive side and offensive play can pick up a little bit, the color of this game could change, but right now it's been tough sledding as Humber's defense is playing pretty tight.
And you see it right there, another opportunity. It's still going to be Niagara ball. They're going to have the throw-in on the side, but it's just, you know, it's tough sledding when you're facing this team.
And a little bit of a back it up mode here, but a scrappy fight and an extra little push at the end, and that's not going to work in his favor, but looks like no cards coming out here, just talking to. Okay, ball back in play.
Interesting. You know, obviously a lot of emotion gets shown on the field by the players, and that's understandable. Ref was getting a little bit angry there. It looked like he was getting a little frustrated. Obviously, we don't know what's being said. I wish we had that earpiece. We can hear everything going on. It'd be great.
Get that big dome audio thing where you can pick up sound from far away. And now some more frustration as Mella is awarded a yellow for a little extra bump there. So maybe the official stepping into, you know, trying to control things here is certainly an overtone of frustration and aggression in the past couple of plays here. I think that was Mella, right, partner, that got the yellow?
Yeah. I see what you did there. Nice one. It's not Matt Hamlin's in the booth. It's Dr. Seuss.
Big kick into the Humber zone and hopping it up high and nobody home as Humber's Evan Moreau will swallow that up. Far side for Humber. Zach, we're marching along here in this first half. 2-0 is the score.
It's about 10, 12 minutes left to go in this one. Not including any stoppage time.
So far, an impressive effort from the home team. As you know, Zach, it's a 10-game regular season schedule. The Hawks finishing 9-0-1 in last year's regular season. And off to that 4-0 start. We mentioned for Niagara, 1 win and 2 ties. And that win coming in their second game of the season on the road against Lambton. And for this Niagara team, they opened their season the same day Humber did on Friday, September 5th, with a 2-2 tie against Redeemer on their home turf in Welland. Nice play there. That was a good look for Niagara, but once again, Zach, the Humber defense just quickly turning things around.
Yeah, and you can say Niagara, they've turned it on a little bit here in this one.
Mella wanting a yellow issued to his opponent there. Here's another look, Zach, and this was pumping the brakes, but just a outnumbered Niagara team not able to maintain possession in the offensive zone. Here comes Humber right back the other way. Little contact as the Knights had the rock momentarily, but pass is surrendered as Mella plays it. And that will be booted into the middle there by Smith.
Well, you hear the expression all the time, right, partner? You know, defense wins championships. And, I mean, the Humber Hawks, they've displayed that their defense, it can win them championships, and it's done in the past, and it's looking like it's doing that for them here today in this game.
Let me ask you another sports defense-based cliche. Best defense is a good offense, Zach, or is it best offense is a good defense, or are both
I think it can go
commonly
either way.
used?
I think it can go either way. Usually when you look at it, it's the transition game. The ability to transition into offense, the ability to transition into defense.
So we have more hollering here, and the official is going to take a second. And we got some finger pointing. Does not look like any card is going to be pulled out, but we've already had a few warnings, Zach. One yellow issued to Humber, and things, you know, maybe getting a little hot under the collar here on this sweaty September Wednesday afternoon. It is about 25 degrees right now.
Feels like 45 to Zach
It feels
anyway.
about 30 in all seriousness.
To me, it feels like about 50. I think my favorite part about, you know, the little chippiness we have going on in this game, the Niagara Knights women's team, they're being the little instigators on the sidelines right now. They're getting louder and louder as the game goes on.
Into the middle, offside will once again slow the roll of the Hawks when it looked like they might have had some space to work with. Right up the middle come the Knights, and that could have been something, but Noel had eyes on that all the way, it looked like.
Again, Isaiah Noel, just such a sound, steady defender.
And on that far side again. So Humber's seeing a lot of their offensive drives come to a premature end. And with that whistle, we'll look to maybe have some subs coming in for the Knights. And checking in to the game, some fresh legs will be number 8, Kyle Hannon.
Out of Pelham, Ontario.
Home of my parents.
Shout out,
Font Hill, Pelham. It's kind of confusing, Zach. It's kind of a municipality with 2 names.
Shout
Still
out to
haven't been
Mama
able to
and
figure
Papa
it out.
Hamill.
If you believe it, Zach, we recently got a message from Canada Post that they changed our postal code.
Really?
Didn't know you could do that.
Thought a postal code was locked in for life.
Very confusing for my folks to navigate that situation. Luckily, I'm now in Toronto, where I don't think
Don't think it'll ever
I'll
change.
have to deal with that.
Hopefully not.
Love me the Niagara region, though, Zach, and this Knights team certainly represents Niagara well. And as we mentioned, when they've had that home play this season, just that one game against Redeemer, they had a decent showing. After today, the Knights will be back at home for 2 games in a row. Quick header and a save made as Humber once again showing just how quickly they could get it popping. But the save was excellently made there by Iwan Isik.
It was TJ just cutting inside to the box and got the head to it. Just couldn't get it enough under it to get it to past the keeper.
Booted and well positioned, as we've seen a couple Niagara Knights defenders getting in the way of some of these shots. So another corner kick coming up here, Zach. So far for this Humber team, a couple corner kicks today. Haven't seen a whole lot of action or anything too dangerous come about. But let's see if that changes. As that is sent in. And nothing going really there, but I think another corner kick now on the opposite side, Zach.
Well, at first you don't succeed, try again. In this case, you know, you try on the other side. That was the mindset of the Hawks. Looked like they were trying to get that to the back post for Noel, who, again, whenever they have these set pieces for the corners, you know, Isaiah Noel, he's a player that kind of creeps up into that attack, and we saw it right there. He's going in there again to the back post.
That time fired in. And once again, Niagara doing a good job closing up those lanes, and this is going to allow them a little bit of an opportunity down the field. And the Knights rushing in, a good chance, and the quick touch. I don't know if the Humber defender maybe was able to get a piece, Zach, but at any rate, that thing careens way high and neutralizing that offensive threat.
Looked like Lescano, number 7, he wanted a offside call there. You know, both players for the side of the Knights were just cutting right through, and he had his hands up saying offside, offside. And, you know, I think the best part is, you know, you can hear the bench talking to the players on the field, but you can also hear the fans saying, you just got to play through. Fans can get very close to the action here at the Zanchin Automotive Center.
Cisco hits the turf, and that will draw a whistle.
Just about 4 minutes left to go of regulation time in the first half. You know, if I was a betting man, I would say over under on 1.5 for stoppage. I would say, or I'd say 2.5. I guess would be the regular line. 2.5. I would say under. I think 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen too much to extend our first half play by that much, but we'll see how this last little bit plays out. But for Humber, if they can head into halftime with this 2-0 lead, you got to think they'd be quite happy about that. Mella with it. A nice move, kind of a little shove there to create some space. He gets a shove right back, and Mella will stand over top of him. Little gamesmanship there. As the Humber Hawks make their way in. Now in that corner, it'll be Humber ball.
That's interesting. Mella has been very vocal since getting that yellow card earlier in the match with the official.
Yeah, and so there's right in center stage. The official maybe perhaps giving another warning. Of course, Mella already in a bit of a tough spot with that one yellow. And after being shoved, Mella took exception. And so we've gotten that all ironed out, it looks like.
A sub coming in here, it's number 7, Jacob Lambert, 4th-year player at Niagara Falls. He comes in for number 15, looks like, Garrett Oldians. But obviously, you know, for how this match started, it really did look like Humber Hawks were going to dominate the entirety of the half, and then Niagara, credit to them, they kind of turned it on a little bit. They started getting some more opportunities. They started breaking through the back line a little bit more. Now, granted, they haven't had any golden opportunities yet, but it's trending in the right direction.
They're hoping for one here, Zach, but not able to really outgun the Hawks, as plenty of Humber defenders were in the area. So substitutions coming on. Looks like Mella's going to get a break here just before half. And into the game for the Hawks, Tyler Isaka.
Fun little trivia game, partner. Tyler Isaka and me went to the same high school, same grade. Grew up with him. Really good guy all around.
Well, you can vouch for him there, partner. I guess 2 Toronto boys, and Isaka in his first year of OCAA competition. Regrouping here, there's Marcus Riviere. Riviere, who potted in the first goal of the game. It was Pinto with the second on a penalty kick. Humber maybe threatening to add a third here. Some good pressure, there it is, as it's passed in and absolutely converted by who else? Young man just stepped into the game, and your old buddy from high school potting one in here.
Yeah, Tyler Yasaka cuts inside to the box, and he finds the back of the net. But to start that play, a little bit of a sacrifice by TJ there. He cut through the middle of the box, got the pass off, got tripped up, and that's really what set up the play for Tyler to finish it. So you get the goal, but you also have a little bit of a sacrifice there on that play.
And unfortunately, a member of the Hawks, after that excellent drive late in the half to go up 3-0, we do have an injured player with a member of the training staff currently on the scene.
Yeah, it's TJ down there, number 11, I believe. Yes, number 11.
Tomas Joseph, a third-year player, now back on his feet, and it does appear he's going to be leaving the game. So, Zach, can't imagine we got much time left here for Niagara. You know, maybe you find a way to put one on the board, or maybe you can just get some sort of offensive footing established here. Well, let's take a look at that goal as Humber now up 3-0, and on that far side, it was Smith with the feed, and then number 8 to number 9 with Tyler potting it in, the first-year player. Excellent work there. His second goal of the season, Zach.
Yeah, comes through, gets his first one here at home on home turf, his first home goal in his Humber Hawks career for Yasaka. And we are in that stoppage time, partner. Didn't see what the ref signaled, so don't know if it's going to be 2 or 3. So if you had the guess at home, we don't know. We can't tell you. Can't tell you right now.
Not sure if we have a cramping up situation, but a member of the Knights is on the turf. Maybe it was just a little bump from the passing by Humber player. At any rate, we're back up. The Knights looking to get by that tough defensive unit for Humber, not able to there. Niagara retreating as they endeavor to hang on to the ball here in the last little bit of this first half. And that will do it. After 45 minutes of play, the Humber Hawks with an early goal and finishing it off after that second with a late goal. 3-0 lead here.
Yeah, Humber really dominated that half to start, and then really through the midway point, it was Niagara that kind of turned things around. They started looking a little bit better, but then Humber again immediately just turned it right back on. They get that late goal, and well, like you said, they're up 3-0.
So we'll step aside momentarily. Stay with us here on the Hawks Sports Network. We'll be back for the second half of this second home game of the Humber Hawks season. Looking good so far. 3-0 is our score. More OCAA soccer action coming right up after this. All right, second half underway. A 3-0 lead is what the Humber Hawks take into this second frame. I'm still Matt Hamill and still alongside my broadcast partner, Zach Benoit. Zach, break down what you saw in that first half that you think contributed to this pretty strong position Humber finds themselves in.
They really just jumped straight out of the gate on offense. I mean, that was kind of the thing that really prolonged through the first half. They got that goal early on, 6 minutes, I believe, was when that first tally came across, and then they just continued to dominate slowly and surely throughout the rest of the half. The start of the first half was dominant. They kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit midway through, and then they started building themselves back up towards the end of it. Then that Tyler Yasaka goal near the 45th minute, that was the really big kind of seal on a really solid first half.
Yeah, for Niagara, that's got to be a tough one, that late goal. I mean, an early goal and a late goal for Humber really punctuating that first half. So certainly a strong first 45 minutes. Now can the Niagara Knights on the road here against the defending national champs dig deep? They're going to have to set the tone early, you would think, Zach, if they want to get themselves a good chance in this one.
Well, you and me were going inside to get some refreshments and air conditioning.
Yes,
and we walked past the little huddle of the Niagara Knights, and we heard the coach, he's still in this game. He still thinks his team has a chance. He said, I like the opportunities we had midway through. We got into their half. We had looks. We just didn't capitalize. And I think that's a big thing coming straight down from your coach saying, listen, guys, it might be 3-0, but we can still, scratch and claw our way back to this game.
Sometimes it can be tough to fend off the bad vibes, Zach, but, I think if Niagara can just stay in it mentally, that's got to be a good sign. Regardless of the outcome of this game, you just want to see a team that's able to put up that fight. And so far, we're not really seeing any signs of quit in this Knights team, but they have a tall order in front of them, a 3-0 deficit, as played up the middle there by Niagara's number 22, LeBron Owusu. And Humber will quickly get the ball right back after that whistle. Now Humber's number 22 with the rock. Wausau helping to push it up. Humber will retain possession here, and they're deep in Niagara territory.
Last year, this was a Niagara team that went 3-6-1 on the year, 15 goals for, 25 against. And to start off the season the way they have, it shows life, and it really does show promise with how much this program has built over the summer, and then early on in the season, you're starting 1-0-2. So, you still haven't had that loss column yet. Obviously, right now, it's not looking in their favor. Humber up 3-0 here as we're in the second half. But for the Knights, you got to take the small victories. This is a Humber Hawks team that, again, it has been dominant. You can see the banners out there at midfield on the other side. They have been dominant for a long stretch of time. So if you're Niagara, you come into this match, you got to just show who you are, slowly build up your program. And I think if you can give this Humber team a little bit of fight in the second half, that can help you propel to a really good season.
Yep, absolutely, Zach. You just can get so much from that continued effort. And the Knights still fighting. Big, deep throw-in, and that's going to give the Knights a little edge here. Pushing it into Humber's zone. Nukowski firing it and deflected right off that crossbar on the parking lot protector. So my Oldsmobile is safe for now, Zach, as that ball's kept in the field area.
My Enterprise rental car is safe right now. Big play, though, from the Humber defender, number 19, Alistair Johnson. He had a really big role in the second half of the home opener a couple weeks ago, and, he comes in here again in the second half looking to make another impact. A first-year player, really good impact.
Yeah, you're right. It was a great defensive play. It does lead to this corner kick. Some Knights getting tripped up in the box area. And Humber blazing down the field right now. This could be dangerous, but sound defensive play will pump the brakes there.
You can see it quickly. Cisco Thomas just did a really good job propelling Matthew Smith forward, and then the pass from Smith to Yasaka. It was a really 50-50 ball of who's going to get there first, and the defender that time ultimately was able to get away and hold off Yasaka on the attack.
You know, Zach, we mentioned some of the things we heard from 19th year head coach Frank DeShellis for the Niagara Knights and urging his team to keep fighting. Zach, on the other side, first year head coach, kind of contrast there. Jason Mesa for Humber, you got to think he's maybe urging his team to look at this as just a 0-0 game, right? Come out in the second half, don't coast on a 3-goal lead, but find a way to establish that winning edge here in the second as well and not give Niagara any oxygen to climb back in this game. And so far it's been pretty neck and neck. In fact, in the second half, Zach, we have seen Niagara get some good jumps and some offensive drives underway. We'll see if they can build off that and maybe find their first goal.
Yeah, and I think the big wording you used there, and the reason why, again, this Humber team has always been so successful is it doesn't matter what the score is. They're going to continue to play their game. They're not going to coast. You know, some teams, they'd say, oh, we're up 3-0. We can play a little bit more passive. We can play a bit more defensive. We don't need to worry about the offensive side of the ball as much. Humber, they stick to that 50-50 plan of where we play defense, but we're also going to really push the offense.
That time, an almost promising offensive drive is cut short as the lead pass out of reach. So it'll be a goal kick with Evan getting ready to boot this thing away. Plays it right to his captain. Back to Evan Morrow. And the first-year keeper will just play that one up. A mid-range pass. And turned over to the Knights. Looking for a lane inside here. Cisco. He's able to push it up. Humber now with possession, inching a little closer here. Now working into the middle. Pinto's already got a goal here on that penalty kick in the kind of midway through the first half. Oh, pumping the brakes and all kinds of contact there in the box. The play goes on. Humber still with it. Some real good time of possession here in this last little sequence. Looks like I put the kibosh on that as it's turned right over.
It's usually how it goes. Usually how it goes. You get the caster kibosh.
Ooh, tripped up there is Lokole. And a yellow card will be doled out to Humber. So earlier we saw Franz Mella receive a yellow, and now first-year player Michael Krako is issued one here. Gives Niagara a chance to push it back into the Humber zone, but just a swarm not making it easy here. Looks like Humber still has that foot firmly on the gas pedal. As Niagara trying to get in this game, down by 3. And whistle blown there as Humber's attacker and goal scorer, Tyler Yasaka, is tripped up. He scored that final goal of the first half there.
And again, Humber still just have their foot firmly on the gas here as they continue to just kind of work through the zone. And, ooh, heavy contact in the midfield.
Yeah, that was Cisco Thomas on the receiving end of that one. Humber inching their way in here. TJ with it now on that near side, cutting back into the middle. Looks to push it outside, but a Knight defender was all over that one. Well played there by the rookie keeper. as he elects to not pass it over to Fiore, as that could have been intercepted and maybe led to a golden chance for the Knights offensively. And with some high IQ passing, Humber able to keep it and now advance onto the Niagara side. Ooh, how's that for a good pass, and a fight for it is won by a young man who's been winning a lot of battles there for the Niagara Knights. Number 20, Ferdinand Lokole.
Yeah, the center back for the side of the Knights has been really, really good, to say the least.
Humber streaming down the field, and that could have been a dangerous crossing pass, but the Knights defensively able to get in the lane.
Who else? Nicolo again. Who else?
You mentioned he's a tall individual, 6'4", and just seems to be all over the field there and thwarting a lot of these potentially dangerous offensive pushes by Humber. Maybe a little too much on that one, actually. Almost kept alive. And the Knights will send in a substitution. So number 15, Garrett Oldians, into the game, a fifth-year player. The only fifth-year player on the field for either team here today.
And then as well, number 14, Matthew Vaticino, will come into this game.
So Lambert and Vogel will check out of the game for Niagara. And that will go against the Knights. Good defensive positioning there. Draws the whistle and shuts that offensive stretch right down. So just a little shy of the 60-minute mark, Zach.
And again, a similar trend that we're seeing from the first half to this half. It's just Humber in control. They started the first half off in control, really not allowing Niagara to get anything going, and that's kind of what it's been here in the second half. Niagara have yet to, get their footing again, but we know they're able to. They were able to do it halfway through that first half.
Yeah, Humber maybe not with as much offensive opportunities as we saw in the first half in the early going of the second frame, but I think they're still happy with how this one is going. Haven't really allowed much for Niagara. Okole able to track that one down. Okole, we mentioned his excellent play a number of times. He joins this Niagara squad by way of Congo. Humber with some international players as well. Daniel Sini by way of Tehran.
So one of the first best chances we're going to see here for Niagara. It's a throw-in on the side, but that's a deep throw into the box.
And the header will go well high of the bar. So you mentioned it was a good chance and not a bad placement, just the header not really cooking up the kind of magic the Knights were looking for, as they will remain in this 3-goal deficit.
And, you can see the man they were trying to set up. It was their center back, number 20, Okolo, who jumped into the play, front side, front post, and he tried to get the header on point.
Now moving in and right in the shooting lane, and that's going to shut that down, as wearing the captain's armband and showing a lot of heart there. And the Humber fans are applauding that effort, as that's going to also allow the Hawks a quick pivot here into the offensive zone. Down low now, this could be dangerous. We just saw a decent opportunity for Niagara on one end, and so quickly Humber flipping the field. Into the middle. Cisco Thomas got a piece of it, and it's going to be well cleared out for the time being. Ball placed on the foot of Pinto. Pinto blazing in. Now he's in the midfield area. Cisco Thomas plays that out. Tripped up there. That's going to be Niagara's number 17, Anthony Hendricks, one of the first-year players.
And it's going to be a golden chance here for Humber in a good spot. Yeah. But, you know, I've just kind of been listening to the coaches on both sides kind of talking to their players, but also the back line. The biggest thing that I heard was from Humber coaches, that defensive play that we just saw Humber have. Their two center backs coming up clutch, and you can just hear the coaches say, keep it simple, keep it simple. It's exactly what Humber is doing so far in this game. They're keeping it simple.
Let's see what the Hawks can cook up. And that's going to be right on the foot of a Knight defender, and that will turn it into a corner kick, Zach. So the boot was fired away by Tenzin Wasal, one of those other international players on the Humber roster. He comes to this program by way of Nepal. And this looks pretty good, partner. The keeper getting a piece of it. Great job by Iwan Isik, keeping it a 3-goal game. And just like we've seen previously, one offensive chance could spark another on the other end. Boy, racing down the field right now is Oldians. And that will at least slow things down for the time being, Zach. With the throw-in coming up, Niagara hangs on to it.
Carmen Fiore, he's donned that captain's patch with Matthew Leitch, not in the match today. And Fiore has done a fantastic job really just quarterbacking this team.
Yeah, it's a big factor we mentioned in the first half, right? That Leitch not in action today, and it's certainly worth highlighting again here in the second as a key presence for the Hawks. And Humber has been able to do quite well in his absence here today. But we'll certainly await the arrival of Leitch and eager to see his return.
He had a big performance in the home opener. Matthew Leitch, I mean, he's been such a steady defender his entire career here as a Humber Hawk. He's worn that captain's patch with a lot of pride and a lot of honor.
Yeah, incidentally, that home opener, the only other home game for Humber so far this year, that matchup against Fanshawe a week ago, was also a 3-0 game. That was the end result. Still remains to be seen if we'll see any movement on the scoreboard, but as of right now, 3-0 is where we're at here as well.
Partner, I just want to let you know, number 24, Cristiano Candelaresi, has just checked in. This is the leading goal scorer for the Humber Hawks. Again, a guy that usually doesn't start the game, but he's yet second in the OCAA in scoring.
Yeah, great point, partner. So we'll be keeping for sure an eye on Cristiano, number 24. He's got outstanding soccer player hair as he trots down the field, and we'll see if he can make some magic happen. Pushing it in, here's Yasaka. And cleared well high of that crossbar. Corner kick coming up. Remember, Zach, it was Yasaka who checked into the game earlier in that first half and very quickly found himself scoring a goal. So maybe we could see if Candelaresi can do the same as he's fresh into this one.
You hear the keeper for the side of Niagara. He's saying, you guys got to lock in. Play with a little bit of urgency was his main words.
That ball trickles here on the near side. Cleared in. Niagara able to come away with it. And they are certainly outnumbered, and a almost NHL type of physical contact there. So the fans are unhappy.
I believe that was Carmen Fiore that received that yellow card.
The sun gradually setting here in Vaughan, and we will remind you that we have another game on tap for today. The women's teams for Humber and Niagara will be kicking their game off, a scheduled start time of 7 o'clock.
That should also be a really good game. I mean, the women's team, they've started off red hot for the side of Humber and Niagara. You know, it's always going to put up good competition, it feels like. You know, they always have good teams, sneaky good teams, and should be a really good matchup in that women's matchup.
This kick from pretty far out, and Cisco Thomas able to snatch that one up. So Niagara hangs on to possession deep in the Humber zone. See what they're cooking up here strategy-wise. Big throw. Humber in position to get that ball. How about this foot race right here? Goodness. Well played there to the scorer of the third goal of this game, and Tyler with a nice pass. That's going to open up a lot of space here. Back in the middle, looking for Yasaka. Not going to find him, but Humber will hang on to.
That's the second time we've seen Tyler Yasaka cut through the box with some fancy footwork. That time it was a great back heel to Liscano, who was cutting up the line.
Pinto with it on the perimeter. Thomas, big boot. Wow, how about that? Excellent work to keep that ball from advancing deep into Humber's zone by Liscano. So Niagara will have it right about at that midfield line.
About 23 minutes left to go in this half, and it's, again, reminiscent of, again, the first half, where Humber just really controlled the pace of play. Niagara, they've had their looks here. Nothing has come across as of yet. Humber is still rocking with that clean sheet.
Zach, it's kind of a road-heavy start to the season, I guess you could say, for the Humber Hawks, as they will, after this game, head back on the road this weekend in London to take on the Fanshawe Falcons. A little battle of the birds on tap there. Meanwhile, after that, Zach, the Hawks finally get a friendly stretch of 3 home games in a row. Going to be busy here in Vaughan with 3-game home stretch against Mohawk, Redeemer, and Conestoga before finishing the regular season on the road at Sheridan.
A heavy road schedule
in the front end, right? But yeah, nice to get that kind of friendly back end of the season, especially, Zach, the way the Hawks have been able to capture some road victories early on certainly bodes well for their position as they look beyond the regular season for the best possible spot. And the Hawks able to steal it away. Little push in the back there by Liscano. He gets right back up.
Player that checked in was number 20, Justin Cabral. Came in here for the Humber Hawks just moments ago.
And that will be scooped up. So certainly the first-year keeper taking on the defending national champs has been tested. Ewan Isik has come up with some saves, but Humber has been able to pop 3 in the back of the net. And that's where we stand right now. As, you know, the Knights have been certainly applying the pressure, maybe adding a little extra offensive attacking strategy to try to climb out of this 3-goal deficit, but so far nothing going as the Hawks maybe look to add another. And that was a good chance, a little frustration there. I think that was Cisco Thomas, who seemed to have, you know, a good opportunity based on some fancy footwork. But no candy as he sends it high.
Yeah, turned and burned and just couldn't get that one down. It just sailed over the crossbar.
So coming into the game for the Knights here with the substitution is number 11, Isaac DeWard. Number 10 is popping into the lineup here, Aiden Ostudillo. Now, Zach, we got to give credit to whoever made the roster for the Niagara Knights. These name pronunciations, assuming we're saying them right, it looks like they have done a really good job of these last name pronunciations.
Broadcaster's best friend, whoever makes the
Yes.
pronunciation guides.
Connoisseurs of pronunciation help.
The real MVPs of the OCAA.
So a little back and forth, trading blows here around midfield. And time is certainly ticking away here as we're approaching the 72nd minute. And for Humber, Zach, you think at this point they're quite content to, you know, maybe just switch it into that gear where the clock is certainly their friend. Gonna have a bit of a chat. Looks like maybe the official not happy with some of the calls from the Humber bench for yellows. And so after that little bit of deliberation, looks like Humber will get it going here.
Yeah, interesting. You know, we've seen, you know, Humber. We saw it earlier with Franz Mella. Him and the ref had a couple conversations. The ref now going up to the Humber bench.
Woo! Wow, beautiful move here, but once again, the defensive play by number 20, Lokole, is going to shut that one down. So after that offensive little razzle-dazzle, Humber will ultimately retrieve the ball and push right back in, with Lokole looming large there on that defensive line.
Trying to find Kanda Laressi in the back corner there.
Pinto with the kind of shoulder grab there. I think Pinto might be subbing out here. No, scratch that. It's checking into the game for Humber is Marcus Vital. And out of the game will be Lascano, who's really fought hard and contributed greatly in this winning effort for Humber. Assuming the Hawks can close the deal out with 16 minutes of regulation on the board, more or less. Free kick for Niagara. Let's see what the Knights might cook up here. That's a good look, but that was right in the breadbasket. And the first-year keeper for Humber, Evan Morrow, was all over that one. Morrow pretty comfortable with his surroundings right now. He is a Vaughan native, and Humber looking to add on a fourth maybe. Oh, it was just out of reach. The Hawks still with possession down low and not able to get all of it. But I'll tell you what, that was equal parts a well-placed kick, but just an even better save, Zach.
And who else but Cristiano Candelaresi? I mean, he was looking for number 6 on the year.
Could have been just my angle, but it did look like maybe certainly didn't get the kind of wood on it he was hoping for. But he placed it brilliantly, but the keeper was all over it. That's going to be a corner kick.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to cut it in towards that close post. He got a good piece of it, but not enough. Look at this. If he was able to keep that ball a little bit closer, he would have had it, but this is the point you're making. He didn't get a clean kick. He got some power on it, but one hand was the only thing stopping him.
I mean, that was a full extension. That save, kind of feel like I tore my pec muscle just watching the first-year keeper for the Knights keeping that one out of the net. So Patrick Iwanisic, and kind of highlighting something we mentioned earlier, he's had a good number of solid stops, but just the offensive pressure that Humber kind of has a habit of putting on their opponents. See what the Hawks are looking at to be enough to capture their second home win of the season, but the night is young, Zach. Cristiano right back in the mix for Humber. Maybe feeling like he's kind of owed one here as he was so close. Keep an eye on the Hawks, number 24, as Humber right down low. Corner kick appears to be on the way.
And he just continuously just finds chances. It seems like every time Candelaresi is on the pitch, he's finding an opportunity to score, and we've seen it multiple times so far today.
Oh, that was quite a ricochet there. Somehow kept out. That time the keeper, the initial stop, the defender with the cleanup effort. Humber applying some late game pressure here and right back with the foot on the pedal. Looking for some space. Can the Hawks corral it here high up in the air, out of play? Handled by Humber Athletic Director Ray Chateau.
Good hands out of Mr. Chateau. Don't think anybody could have done it better.
Let's take another look here. As there was that defender well positioned. I mean, gonna have to certainly thank his defensive line for stepping in. As many great saves as we've seen made by the Niagara Falls native, Iwanisic. That time it was the defensive line coming through. Ball up high. The Knights are the first one to get a piece of it. Pelham native Kyle Hannon had a piece of it for a moment there. Lokole, good solo effort back on his goal line to corral it and clear it out. Pinto plays it into the middle.
One thing that, I love to hear is just the communication between players on the field, and a person that has been doing it for so many years for Humber, it is number 6, Carmen Fiore. He's continuously talking, continuously being vocal with his team about where people are, where the placement is, the best approach. Fiore, he just does it day in and day out, which is a really smart captain's approach.
Humber will have the rock here just on that Niagara side of half, although they quickly retreat back into their own zone. And burning off clock here, not a bad strategy. As you mentioned, Zach, the Hawks have put together quite an extended stretch of not allowing a goal. Not a big surprise for a team that only allowed 3 goals in the entirety of the regular season last year.
Yeah, but now, this stretch that they're going on here, it's to start the season. And obviously, you had 2 goals scored in the first game, but this is just impressive.
Substitution at the 80th minute for Niagara 9.
Subs in and out for the Niagara Knights. Among them, number 19, David Figueroa. Okole had a Humber player draped all over him. That will draw a whistle, so free kick coming up for the team in blue. Meanwhile, Marcus Riviere is angling to check into this game. Looks like Cisco will be the one heading off.
Yeah, Marcus Riviere comes back on, and Cisco, like you said, he'll be headed off.
Well, the Humber defenders are really turning on the Jets, getting back here. That's looking like a corner kick for Niagara. No, that's a throw-in, Zach, and ultimately that will be popped up high. Humber able to create a little bit of breathing room here.
I'm curious to see, what the Hawks' game plan is as we get to, just the final 10 minutes of this match. Obviously, Niagara, you're down 3. It's tough enough to score 1. It's going to be tough to score 3 in under 10 minutes. But if you're Humber, do you keep that approach of just continual physicality, continuing pushing the pace, or are you going to have that approach where you take your foot off the gas? Obviously, something we don't see out of them.
The Knights will, at least the men's team, will not be heading immediately home on that hour-and-a-half drive back to Niagara because the ladies are in action after this. So game 2 of our HSN doubleheader, slated to start at 7. Looks to be all on time for that. We'll let you know if anything changes, but it's just game 1 so far. Working out well for the Hawks, maybe trying to pop in a late one, but the 4th goal of the game evades the Hawks there.
Well, partner, it's going to be 2 really fun teams going at it. Number 1 and 2 in that West Division. Humber 2-0-2. Niagara 2-0-1. They're in the West for the women's division. 2 teams that haven't allowed a lot of goals. Humber 9 goals scored, only 2 allowed. Niagara 5 scored and only 1 allowed. So it's going to be an absolute barn burner.
Yeah, both of those women's teams in the top 5 provincial rankings. Excited to see that. Humber is ranked number 8 in the national rankings. So excited to see how those ladies on home turf take on a tough Niagara Knights opponent.
The matches that are happening around the OCAA for men's soccer, they're just kicking off now. George Brown Centennial over there in Scarborough, and then Durham and Seneca, they're at Newen Field in Toronto.
Well, kind of feels like closing time here as the sun sets on this OCAA men's matchup. A few minutes left here in regulation. Humber with it in that offensive end. Getting in tight here, cutting into the middle. That one will roll just a bit left. Got the spirited calls from the Niagara coaching staff, wanting their players to stay focused here in the last little while. Some Humber players in that offensive end kind of getting left alone and given some good opportunities to go to work. for this Niagara team, Zach. They're going to be seeing their next game a week from now. So at home, the Knights will be welcoming Sheridan next Wednesday. And then another home game Saturday the 27th of September against Fanshawe. So certainly a tall order coming on the road and taking on the defending national champions. But 2 home games for the Knights on the way.
Yeah, a tall order going against a team like that, but you have a good chance in Sheridan and Fanshawe to just continue the smart play that you've had really throughout the start of the season. So it looks like Fanshaw's. Looks like Niagara's bench just had a yellow card. 86th minute. We've seen a lot of yellow cards. Thankfully, no red cards have come out here.
The Knights making a push. Comes Cristiano. And he is a talented player, and that is a beautiful pass. Look at that lane. Not able to convert, but that was a golden late-game opportunity, and all kind of facilitated there by Candelaresi.
Candelaresi, he's just such an electric player, such a fun player to watch. And he set up Yasaka beautifully, but it looked like Hannon for the side of Niagara just cut inside, made a great defensive play.
The Hawks playing it back. Precious time ticking away here in this 3-0 ball game. In tight here for Humber. Up and over.
Was that goal kick coming inbound? That one rolled on the baseline of that corner flag. Really wasn't expecting to be this hot today.
Well, the sun is shining, Zach. It is a little uncharacteristically hot, but stuff your sorries in a sack, because by Saturday, we'll be outdoors for some HSN men's rugby, and it's going to be a lot cooler, Zach, so be careful what you wish for, because it's time to start layering up, partner. As I mentioned in the first half, autumn starts on what day next week, Zach?
Was it Sunday?
Monday.
Monday, I was one off.
It's okay.
It ended with Y, I had that. It ended with the word day.
And that is cleared out authoritatively. And you can see there we're within the last minute of regulation before this one wraps up. Humber with some space. So if the Hawks can get the victory here, they will improve to 5-0. 3 minutes added of extra time here, Zach, as you spotted with your carrots.
My non-prescription sunglasses. Should I be wearing these and not my regular glasses? No, but the sun is in my eyes.
Look, if you want to look cool, you got to pay a price.
Exactly. Got to sacrifice the vision.
And so for Humber, a win here would make it an outstanding first half of the season. You know, Zach, one of the highlights for Humber, a road game at Lambton, a 10-0 win in their second game of the season. What an opening weekend for Humber, right? They opened their season on the road with 2 road games. A 4-2 win against St. Clair, and then 10-0 against Lambton. Following that up with a 3-0 win against Fanshawe. 1-0 on Saturday against Conestoga. And looking like they could potentially get a 3-0 win here.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a trip inside the box. It was Cristiano Candelaresi who went down, and the bench was up in arms. They wanted him to get another opportunity at possibly a 5th goal. We've entered into stoppage time territory here, partner.
Yes, indeed. Humber takes it back. One of the final few drives here in this game.
Yeah, Humber going to have a corner kick here. Well, like you mentioned, this is Humber working their way towards that 5-0 start. Looking really, really good coming off that national championship win.
Taken down, so free kick just outside of the box there, Zach.
Yeah, Riviere just got tripped up just on the outside corner of that box, so they'll have the free kick. It's a really good spot. But my question would be now, do you go for the goal or do you go for a set piece? What's the plan here on a position like this?
Zach, I mean, you think you got a great position here. We'll see what the Hawks dial up. Certainly bodes well for their chances of just staying on top here in these last few extra frames. And that's another solid save, diving to get a piece of it. First-year keeper with another one for his save count. Iwan Isik will stop that, and that's going to be the final play of the game, that free kick, as the Humber Hawks improve to 5-0 with a rock-solid start to this regular season. They've reached the halfway point, and they're looking forward to a couple of home games down the stretch, 3 in a row. But first, they'll have a road game against Fanshawe this coming Saturday. Zach, for the Niagara Knights, they've come a long way and faced a tough opponent and didn't show much quit. But at the end of the day, the Hawks' 3-goal lead after the first half was enough to do it.
Yeah, and Humber, I mean, they showed their dominance once again. They continue to play a smart game really through 90 minutes. It doesn't seem like they give up at all throughout the 90 minutes of regulation time. And man, Humber, they're playing some really good football, and very excited to see how this season continues for them.
There's a look at our final #1 team in the nation with another solid effort. Stay tuned with us here on the Hawks Sports Network. We'll have game 2 of this doubleheader. The women's team's taking the field with a 7 o'clock Eastern start time. We'd love to have you with us.